your fucking pride.
Monkey D. Goofy. D. Goofy. I'm just slobbering this bad guy.
Why would they do that, bro?
Bro, because it's getting you ready. Yeah, no!
What's good, everybody? It's your boy T-Rav. I am back here with another video. Right now, we have the Lady of Heaven movie review. Now, this one's not going to be too structured and all that. I just kind of want to give my quick thoughts on it and all that other stuff, because this was a more historical, religious-based movie, obviously depicting the trials and tribulations of the Prophet Muhammad and then Lady Fatima. So I will say this kind of movie is pretty cool because you're bouncing back between present and the past, but for the most part, the meat of the story is in the past. You know what I'm saying? And we're using this this boy who was a survivor of a terrorist incident where his mother got killed in front of his eyes, and it was crazy scene. I'll talk about that in a couple minutes, but yeah. So we're telling the story through this grandmother type figure who's a lady who's basically taking him in, whatever. Well, it's actually a soldier who takes in the boy, and then he brings him to, I guess, his mother's home, and his mother's, you know, a grandmother type age, and she's looking after the little boy, and you know, obviously he's very sad, and she decides to tell him stories to give him strength, and the stories that she's choosing to tell is about the Lady of Heaven named Lady Fatima. Now, the story that she talked about was Muhammad's first trip to the, I'm forgetting the names of the cities and all that stuff right now, but this was basically in the beginnings of Islam and stuff like that. So people are looking at them crazy, but they definitely have their devout followers, you know what I'm saying? And he is considered a prophet by basically all of them and stuff like that. But people are concerned, and obviously greedy people are trying to take the power for themselves. And for good or for bad, that's to be expected. And when you don't have someone of an equal status and stature as Muhammad, who's in the forefront ready to take the reins as soon as Muhammad's out the picture, then basically what kind of position are you left in, and what can you really do? Now, the problem is that the downfall starts happening even when Muhammad's around, right? Because he's given all of these instructions as to how they're going to go, and they're going to claim this place, and they're going to basically make it their area to worship, and also invite people of all faiths. It doesn't matter what religion you're practicing or whatnot, you're going to be allowed in the city to practice what you believe in. It doesn't matter what you look like, where you're from, none of that, all that stuff. So it sounds amazing. It sounds like, well, honestly, like a paradise. Like, who wouldn't want to go live in a place like that, especially when religious freedoms and persecution is running rampant back then, as it is in a lot of places nowadays, obviously. He leads him into battle with his basically son-in-law, Ali, who is an excellent warrior. I mean, he's the strongest warrior in the kingdom, all that stuff. And he fancies, you know, his daughter and all that, and he blesses that. They go on to have a family, and it's going to be, you know, the household of Muhammad. So this is going to be the inheritors of what he has built up to this point after he's gone. So a battle ensues, and it's a crazy battle, but they're vastly outnumbered, and with Muhammad's assistance and Ali lead the charge, they take the W. But they have this is where it's like, you got to understand, just because you win one little battle, that doesn't mean that you've won the war, and the people they're fighting against take advantage of that when Muhammad's people, the archers in particular, get greedy and go down and start trying to loot the bodies of the people that they thought that they had just run off because they thought that they won. fair and square, and it was so easy. When Muhammad literally had told them before the battle, no matter what happens, no matter what it looks like, don't come off that hill, because if you do, bad things are gonna happen. So just stay on the hill, no matter what. I'm sure they would have come to get them when they was ready and when they were time, when the battle was fully secured. But no, obviously they get greedy. They go and try and loot, and what happens? Enemy forces sneak behind the flank and bust their ass and basically decimate all their forces. Ali is hurt, Muhammad is hurt, and people are using that as an opportunity to question just how much God is on the side of Muhammad and his family. Now, Muhammad's been making it clear over and over that he wants Ali to take over for him when he's, passed on and whatnot. And obviously, since he's blessed the union between him and Fatima, then it's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? But obviously not, because while Ali's a great warrior and all that other stuff, Muhammad set himself up to be in a position of weakness. Like, let's just be real. And I respect it and I understand it. I honestly do. The path of non-resistance, even in the face of all this horrible stuff, people are plotting on you behind your back, people are being greedy, and even though you're looking out for their best interest, they're basically just doing everything they can to mess up y'all's situation for whatever the reason, power, greed, whatever. It's just human nature, people being greedy. It's hard to believe in something that you can't tangibly see, even if they've seen miracles on miracles happen before. You know what I'm saying? So, and not even to mention all that, but then Muhammad's got a wife that is horribly jealous, and we don't even really get to see her much through the movie, but the one, like, couple times we see her, she is just on dirt talking about, oh, you love your daughter and her husband and her children more than you love me. Newsflash, no duh. Most grandads love their grandkids more than their wife. And then their daughter. Like, what are you talking about? So that was just that wasn't none of that. That was not what that was about. That was, oh, I was supposed to be placed in such a prominent role, and my father was supposed to have this and this and this, and obviously that wasn't going to be the case, you know what I'm saying, once he parted ways. So she's scheming off in the background to try and stab them in the back, and what does she eventually do? She poisons him, and Muhammad passes away, and this is the moment where Abu Bakr takes control, because Ali was on the back foot, and then also Muhammad's told Ali over and over again, just don't do anything, just wait and be patient, wait for the right moment. And I mean, it just continues. It's just relentless greed, relentless just spite, like, for all the good that they had done, those people, and then what Abu Bakr like turns into, because he starts off and you don't think that he's that bad of a dude, because like when they're first starting to talk about who should take over for Muhammad, after it was first announced that Ali was going to take over, obviously there was discussion and people were outraged somewhat because they didn't think that Ali was going to be the greatest leader. For whatever reason, I don't know, but Abu Bakr starts taking that opportunity to grasp power for himself. And you just see him slowly fall into it more and more, to where it gets to a point where he's going to take any action he feels is necessary to hold on to what he's got, or what he stole, more is what we should more likely say. And I do think part of it was an inferiority complex towards Ali, because obviously Ali is an amazing warrior. I mean, he inherited everything that probably Abu Bakr wanted, even though his daughter or whatever was married to Muhammad, and then things didn't fall his way. So it was crazy, because I mean, he had hesitations before, but then he's like, okay, use whatever force necessary to get them to capitulate and get them to, basically bend the knee, because you can't have two people uh, being proclaimed as the rulers of the tribe and all that other stuff. So what are you gonna do? You're gonna force one to submit, and so they had to do underhanded methods. And I mean, they even went so far as to burn in the house, and they broke in and beat the shit out of the Lady of Heaven. And it's like, it's crazy because, bro, she lost her child in that event. And I'm sorry, Ali, you're so much better than me because, yeah, we would have killed that dude. And he was in your hands afterwards where you could have done something about it. And he was like, you know, if Muhammad didn't tell me to, you wouldn't have ever dared come in my home and do this. So, but I like I said, like I was saying before, I get it and I respect it. And that just goes to show you that in the end, that type of approach is actually the best, because that story is going to persist on and live way longer than if you were just to fight back and have the normal reaction. That's a human response, and they weren't trying to glorify them in particular ways. I saw the disclaimer or whatever once the movie started, but you could tell their personalities, some of them were more flawed than others, and mostly that was Ali at first. But being, well, number one, the Lady of Heaven was just, she was literally like a saint, dog. Like, there was nothing or no action or thought she had that wasn't for somebody else. And so that was pretty cool how that came full circle, and why that was so important of a story to be told by the end. But yeah, like I was saying, this is an important movie to be told in terms of the history, because like over here in America, we don't know the minute details of how, you know, the birth of Islam kind of took place, and obviously that's not the whole of it, but it seems like a very integral part, and obviously stuff is still playing out today that mirrors what was taking place back then, because like I said, we're getting told the story through this little boy who's a survivor of a terrorist attack. And honestly, it's not like his mother dies for really no reason at all, because they go to the market on some regular stuff and all is good or whatever, and then all of a sudden a dude rose up talking about, oh, you look like a strong young boy. And like, keep in mind, bro, he's like, he must be like eight years old or something like that. And he rose up talking about, oh, you strong boy, you gonna grow up, you gonna come fight for us one day and come help usher in the caliphate. And it's like, yo, like a couple more years, dude is like 8 years old, but that's the reality of it. And a lot of the times it's like similar to how gang members initiate really young kids over here in America in a similar fashion. Now, obviously, I think what's going on over there is obviously to a way worse extent than what's happening here, but it's the only thing I can kind of relate it to, so that's why I compare it to that. But it was pretty crazy, bro, to see that just play out. And then, like, obviously his mother gets very protective over him, and he doesn't seem to make a big deal out of it or whatever, but he definitely takes notice. And then same day he comes back and busts down the door for absolutely no reasons, just starts beating the shit out of his mom, and then shoots her in the head because she happened to have some scriptures and stuff like that she wasn't supposed to have. And on top of being, I guess, disrespectful to him and not wanting to provide soldiers for the cause, you know, she's a heretic also. So not being able to practice your faith and being forced to submit to a power that goes against what you stand for, direct parallel to what's going on back in the day. And then I have to highlight that one line that Abu Bakr said. He's like, well, I can't say it, I can't remember it exactly, but to paraphrase, he was like, it doesn't matter I will come and I will burn your lands down to the ground. I will take your women, make them my slaves. Like, he was going hard. Like, you thought that he was a decent dude, and he started off here, and the descent never stopped, bro. And it went worse and worse as the movie progressed. You know what I'm saying? And in the end, the household of Muhammad, of the Prophet, passed away after some time. I'm not sure what happened with the children and stuff like that, but Ali and the Lady of Heaven passed on, stuff like that, due to a variety of events. But just the base message of standing up in the face of just the unthinkable amounts of fear that you could be having for being persecuted and put down and put in a place where you don't feel like you have an option of fighting back is very, very powerful. And yeah, obviously it's a direct one-to-one comparison for the boy, and I'm not gonna say he had the best acting performance, but he did solid. He did okay or whatever, because it's the names of his mother and then the Lady of Heaven, where obviously she was named in the namesake of the Lady of Heaven, so it hits harder for him. And the grandmother didn't know, but I think it just resonates that much more that she didn't know, and she happened to tell the perfect story that he kind of needed at that point to obviously be able to help him move on and help him understand what he's supposed to take from it and how he's supposed to keep moving forward and stuff like that. And it was also a great moment between him and his little friend, who you see in the very beginning of the movie also, before the terrorist dudes roll up, because they're just playing and kicking the ball around and stuff like that. And then clearly you find out that his friend has been pressured the exact same way this entire time, and he comes and he was about to blow up the temple that little Nate was at, you know what I'm saying? So it was that was a good scene. I'll say that was a really good scene, because you felt that pressure on that kid, where it was like, oh, you gotta do this to prove yourself and all that other stuff. He had clearly been dragged into it, because obviously not, but just earlier in the movie, and they haven't changed the age. It's not like the time is passing years and years. It's just obviously very quickly he's been dragged into something that he's not trying to be a part of. He's not that kind of kid. But yeah, so decent movie. That obviously, like, they didn't have the highest budget, but I do think that they did well for what they had. I think it was directed well. The way they bounced back and forth between the past and the present was pretty cool. I didn't feel like it was lingering too much in the present time, which was good after a while, because it's like, okay, yeah, we start here in the present, but once we get back to the meat of the story, I want to stay there, you know what I'm saying, and really catch this whole narrative from start to finish. So we ended up doing that. It worked out pretty well, and yeah, like I said, pretty well directed, decent movie. I would watch it again, but for the most part, I was just really intrigued to see the history and all the parallels of what was happening, stuff like that, and how they were speaking about a dark period that would extend for years to come, and has lasted all this time. And obviously the similar things are still happening, but the message is, obviously, if you live your life trying to help others whenever you can, then there's nothing to regret. And then also that the teachings of the Prophet and whatnot will ultimately lead to the proper solution, if you go back and listen to what he was actually trying to do in the first place. Because that's the real solution that I think everyone is trying to search for. That we can all live together no matter what you believe in. So, dope message, pretty good movie, and I'll definitely want to watch it again. But let me know what you thought about the Lady of Heaven. I know I was rambling, because it's hard to pick where to go with that one, but it's a heavy movie, you know what I'm saying? A lot of messages and themes to peel out of that one. So definitely give it a watch if you get a chance. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying it's theater worthy, because it's really not. It's really not. But if you happen to go see it in the movie theaters, I don't think you'll regret it either. So that's gonna do it for me. Please like and subscribe and comment on what other movies you would like me to see and bring you reviews on. Please know that I'm all about my international things too, baby. So keep it coming, keep it coming. But that's gonna be it for right now, and I will catch you guys on the next video. It's been your boy T-Rav, and I'm out.